Yo, my sovereigns, what up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet, with episode 199 of Splinterlands 101, counting down to episode 200. I've left Cusco, and it's been quite a relief, actually, to come down to a lower altitude, 3,700 meters or 12,000 feet for a month. Like at first, you're really, really struggling, so you notice it. But I won't say that you get used to it, but it kind of becomes the new normal. So then when you come down in altitude, it's like, oh wow, I can put my boots on and tie up my shoelace without getting out of breath, or like in the morning you have a shower, you dry yourself, and then you're too exhausted to get dressed. So I'm just going to lie down for a little while and get your breath back. Then you getting dressed is okay, but putting your shoes, doing your shoe, because you're bending forward, blood goes to your head, and then it's like, oh, I'm out of breath again. So just being able to do regular things again is really, really good. Currently in Guatemala at the Lago Atitlan, which is actually, I'll put some photos of the lake, the volcanoes and everything where I'm staying, but it's also Hive Hub Guatemala, which is run by Bitcoins. Anyone who's been around since the beginning, at some point in your Hive life, you've probably heard of or bumped into Bitcoins. It's a great place, 28 rooms, there's dorm rooms, there's private rooms. There's a volunteer program here as well, so people come and they get their accommodation, they get a meal, and they just work. So we get some backpackers coming through and there's some Hive people also come here just for the experience and learn. Because in Splinterlands we're a little bit of a bubble, really. It's just one slice of the Hive pie, and a lot of people in Splinterlands, that's all that they know is just Splinterlands. And by being a Splinter, you've actually already got a Hive account. So I encourage any of you who's find out what else Hive can do. I mean, working at Talentland Guadalajara, at the Hive stand expanded my universe immensely about Hive. So if you're in Splinterlands, you've already got a Hive account. Find out what else it can do for you. It's really quite amazing. I will be making some videos while I'm here, so keep an eye out for the videos because it's a beautiful area, massive lake, volcanoes, and because it's a big lake and all mountainous, driving from one town to another is windy roads. So the most common form of transport here is boats. Boats just go backwards and forwards from coast to coast, small towns. But yeah, I'll put a couple of photos in this post, but if you're interested in Hive Hub Guatemala, or even just the place here, it's San Marcos is the name of the town that we're in. It's quite a small town. It takes you about 10 minutes to walk from one end of town to the other end. It's quite amazing. But yeah, so keep an eye out for those photos.
Nice. I'm glad you're having fun on your big... No, not a great deal. I'm glad you're having fun on your big track and adventure, and I think the idea of a Hive Hub where people can sort of congregate and meet, and I really feel like with the monthly meetups with Splinterlands and originally with Hive, having that monthly meetup is great. Just to be there in person, press the flesh, have a beer together. It makes such a difference to getting us away from the online, offline touch grass. We're in meat space, and it just makes everything so much more real, right? It's not just something that I'm doing on the internet. This is actual real world impact with real people at behind the keyboard. So yeah, I haven't necessarily envied your travels around high altitudes. I would say the cigarettes might be somewhat more responsible for some of the breathlessness. Perhaps nudge. No,
actually, smokers do a lot better at this altitude than non-smokers.
Wow, okay.
Just used to working harder. I don't know, but apparently smokers have a lot more trouble. Non-smokers have a lot more trouble at high altitudes than smokers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing too, down here, Hive Hub, is like my accommodation, food, meal, everything here you can pay with Hive or HBD, which is really good.
Brilliant. And I
Yeah.
just, you picture you sitting there on the, on the deck, looking out over the lake, doing a Splinterlands battle, winning some SPS, turning that into HBD, and then using that to buy your meal, right? Like that sort of that mentality, I think, is really, really interesting and fun.
Yeah.
So
And then
and the fact that there are
distributor
places
as well.
distributed with the cashback.
You
Just
20%
the fact that
cashback straight away.
exactly that there are places that you can go where you're likely to meet people of the same mindset, right? You won't necessarily run into a big name, but you might. You just don't know. And so places like Guatemala, I think we here in Australia, you hear about this, and if it's just from Hollywood movies, it's all just Central and South America is just either poverty or drug gangs, growing poppies, growing, cocaine cooks and all that. And then it's all just like we get a real contaminated view. And anytime Hollywood tries to turn you off a place, I think that's when you should think maybe this is a good place to actually go.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some freedom there, and maybe there's some good people there. Because I know as a Christian, as a white Christian man, if you based your opinions of white Christian men on Hollywood, you would probably not want to spend any time with any of us. So I kind of feel like, okay, where does Hollywood not want me to go? What does it want me to think is terrible places? The sepia-toned Guadalajara, Mexico, or the rubbish in Central and South America. Okay, wherever Hollywood doesn't want me to even think about going, that's where I'm going to go and meet good people.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like where the northern suburbs of Melbourne are more dangerous than anywhere that I've been in South America or Mexico.
Yep.
What else is new, different? The town here as well. San Marcos. It's quite a small town. You can walk easily, but Buckcoins has been quite busy here, and there's a lot of retailers here in town that also accept HBD, including the local health food store. When you post on Distributor to get your 20% cash back, it automatically makes the post. So you can check that out, what I bought here and paid with HBD. And they also have a Bitcoin ATM here as well. So like, this town that you can walk from one end to the other in 10 minutes has a Bitcoin ATM. Like, it's Australia that needs to pull its socks up, and I think that the West generally, they're really, really embracing the whole crypto energy here in South America.
Nah, things have got to get a lot. Things have got to get a lot worse here before there's any of that
Central
desperation
America.
that's required.
I'm no longer in South America. I'm actually in Central America. Yeah, and another 10 days. I'm going to stay here. I've been here 8 days already, so 2 days already. So another 8 days to go. Episode 200 will be recorded here, and I might get Backcoins to jump on for 5 minutes just to grab my headset and say hello, introduce himself. But episode 200, we're going to have Yabba, we're going to have Azacom, we're going to have Bjangles. It's going to be a big episode. But yeah, I'll get Backcoins to jump on, take the mic for 5 minutes, and he can tell people what's going on here. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of Splinterlands, we've had some interesting developments just over the last day or so. Dave's posted a Medium post. I might just share screen and run through it real quick. So we go.
It's actually post too by Bronze Dragon in regards to the YouTube. So
yes, that's interesting. Also share tab audio, and share. All right, so yes, that is interesting. So just a quick summary: if you haven't seen Bronze Dragon's YouTube video, YouTube's changed their rules and they're clamping down on promoting NFTs, gambling, all of that stuff, and that could be an existential problem for YouTubers who are doing Splinterlands content, which is a shame. It'd be great to reach out to YouTube and say, hey, can we have a dispensation for a project that's been around for 7 years? Clearly not a Ponzi, but they've got their instructions, so I very much doubt that that'll be changing anytime soon. So we'll just have to see how thorough the enforcement is and maybe you move to 3-speak instead. And obviously that's more preaching to the choir, right? You're only getting the eyeballs that are already in the ecosystem, which makes it a real shame from an outreach perspective. But
Well, my
I
videos
think we'll
are
just have to.
mirrored on YouTube as well. So if you've been
That,
watching my content on YouTube rather than FreeSpeak, because it's on both, FreeSpeak is my main focus. YouTube is just simply a mirror platform just to have everything on there. So if YouTube goes and you've been watching my videos on YouTube, start now. Get into the habit now. Start coming to FreeSpeak. And it also, because FreeSpeak, the videos are published on the blockchain, so you can use PXD, you can use eSency or whatever GUI you're using to access the blockchain. If you like our videos and you're commenting on that, I'm going to give you an upvote. Like if you're just commenting on my YouTube videos, what are you getting for that? So yeah, start the transition now. Start coming across to FreeSpeak and to Hive rather than YouTube.
yeah, well, my upvote's not worth nothing. So if I see a decent comment on one of your posts, Bob, I'll give it an upvote. And that can that could be 30-40 cents worth.
Yeah,
Again, what are you getting paid on YouTube? So and that's how you start these things, right? You build small and build up. So so Bronze Dragon, good video about that, and he went through the nuts and bolts. So give that a look if you're not sure. But hopefully that doesn't lead to the death of YouTube Splinterlands content. But it seems like they're casting a pretty broad net, and so I'll just go through this Medium article that Dave shared. So really interesting, all about the land cards. So we tend to focus here on this show more on the land than on the gameplay. I'll be honest, and I think Bob, you and I, and Geo, we've kind of, the game has the modern game with all of the new abilities and all of the new cards. It's kind of left us by the wayside in a lot of ways. Yeah. And because our focus has been so much on land, and just reading through this, I'm thinking, I'm kind of, this vindicates my decision to retire from Wild, because I just don't have the bandwidth to keep up with all of the different changes in Wild and conflicts and wagons. I don't own a wagon. I don't, that I get that as an airdrop mechanism on an intellectual level, but I don't have any real exposure to it. For me, it's all about land, and things like this say to me, okay, yeah, land isn't just set and forget. You need to be keeping up to date with all this stuff, and so I'm glad that I have the bandwidth now, having left Wild. So we're talking about the land card rollout. I'll just read these. So there's the reason the cards are revolutionary. The first card's crafted specifically for land. First card's made with resources produced on land. And then the first cards to use a new ingredient called Cinder, which is an exciting new burn mechanic for older cards. They're the first cards to have exciting new abilities that will transform and deepen land usage, from creating production buffs to enabling more efficient use of DEC, staking, grain consumption, and even power cores. And the introduction of a new ability called Labor's Luck, which will give players a chance to discover really rare and hidden treasures deep within Pretoria. So, inaugural land card set is meant to provide value to both small and large landholders, whether a new player wants to get started by targeting a small production bonus and a power core, or a large existing player wants to go all out and shoot for a max copy to get the Labor's Luck ability. This new addition will give players the ability to pick their level of participation. Each card has a leveling structure exactly like the traditional Splinterlands cards. Each level has its own value and purpose, and stats and abilities get stronger as the cards level higher, culminating with the pinnacle of a max level card and the attainment of the Labor's Luck ability granted to all max level cards in this particular set. So that's common, rare, epic, legendary. While this is a new and exciting development, a bit of a disclaimer there, we're still developing the concept. There's basically the alpha cards for land, the alpha land cards. So these cards are crafted from land resources, and when we say that, it's alpha. We're not saying they're alpha cards. We're saying this is the first of the cards available for and available exclusively for and crafted by land. So we've got limited mint quantities. They're there, common, rare, epic, legendary, and these are CC is what we used to know as BCX. So cards combined. So there's only 100,000 cards combined available, and if we say there's takes 400 commons to make one max, then obviously that gets chopped right down. I think is it 11 legendaries to make one max copy. So we're looking at closer to only 100 or so legendaries at max level. And so there's a lot of it's a very limited release. There's not a lot to go around. Push and shove. So we're looking at a 3-month time limit to craft them. but we're expecting that there's a good chance they'll sell out sooner. I'm not sure how we're going to go as far as, say, Aura goes, whether there's enough Aura backlog to be able to make a lot of these, whether there's really that many cheap cards out there that they can be burnt for the levels, for the amounts of cinder that's going to be required. So we'll see what that is. But this is what's got a lot of people talking, is there's a allocation system so that everybody gets an opportunity to receive their fair share at initial launch. Everyone owning land will get allocated their % of the total base PP, and this allocation will lock in the right to purchase for 3 days at launch. After this, it's first come, first served, and open to anyone with the available ingredients.
3 days, did you say?
Yeah. So what's going to happen is there will be a I think it expands on this further on, but there's essentially there's going to be a snapshot taken anytime from yesterday through to when launch happens, and they're going to look at everybody's base PP, so how much production points they have on all of their different plots of land now with all of the different cards applied, assuming that it's maximum DEC staked for each region. So if I was to panic now and then throw a heap of my cards onto the land but didn't have the relevant DEC to stake to make sure that they're working at full capacity, I would get my allocation reduced. So there's no, if you don't have DEC, you just have a backlog of cards. It's no point just throwing them all onto random plots of land to try to have more allocation when the snapshot's taken, because you need to also have the DEC to stake as well. So saying if you're big, we'll allocate you a big allowance of cards. So there'll be 3 days where you can manufacture the cards that you're allowed to based on how much PP you have going on at the moment, and then after those 3 days, the rest of the allocation here will be available for anybody to craft. And you don't even need to own land to craft this stuff, as long as you have the ingredients. As long as you have the cinder from burning cards, you need to have burnt the cards. Cinder's not transferable. So you need cinder, and it goes into this further on. But there's that period. So we don't want somebody who unavoidably, they're going to be asleep. It's 3 a.m. They've got something either side, and then all of these cards get taken, and that's it. Now they need to buy them off the market if they want them. So the idea is, and these are all regular foil too. The idea is that if you're working land at the moment, you will have that 3 day period where you've got your, you can craft them, and you don't have to worry about time or anything. You've got those 3 days. Then after that, then whatever haven't been crafted by people who've already got PP on land, that's then when anybody can craft them. So, for the collectors, super rare, beautiful variations of each card too. So that there will be gold foil versions to max level black foil, gold foil arcane, and black foil arcane. All premium versions are available, but they're hidden. They can only be discovered by luck. And by what we mean, you'll be required to have the brand new ability called Labor's Luck. Right? So they're all regular foil. You craft it, it's regular foil. Getting the other types, the variants, will be just completely based on, do you have Labor's Luck, and how much total production power do you have harvesting, working on plots which have a card, one of these land cards assigned to that plot with the Labor's Luck ability. So it's a bit like digging up totem fragments. When you harvest, there's a chance, and it'll be a fairly small chance, but there's a chance based on everything that you could get one of these variants: gold foil, black foil arcane, gold foil arcane. So there's a lot of detail in there further along, details. So there's only 4 cards in the set: common, rare, epic, and legendary. Craftable versions are regular. So there's some land abilities increasing grain, wood, stone, iron, and ore production. Labor's Luck, Energize, Duck Discount, Rationing, and Toil and Kin. So I'm not sure I think Cinder's not transferable. Land cards, Cinder's produced by burning older cards. Some cards, so the epic and legendaries do require Aura, and common and rares don't. So it's to give access to newer, smaller players to half of the set, while also making sure that people who've been stacking Aura are rewarded for that. So there's a bit more detail there. Early December is the tentative launch date. System-wide snapshot, here we go, base PP on a random undisclosed date between November 4 and the official launch for the purpose of granting allocation rights. These will be rounded down to 1 to the nearest whole number and enable each player to be locked in for his or her share of the total for each rarity for the first 3 days the set goes live. So personally, I am not panicking and throwing a heap of new DEC at the game and staking a whole lot of cards. I do have a lot of cards off to one side, so I could increase my allocation. But I think the amount of cards, PP, that I have going on at the moment is probably enough that I'll be able to get a handful of these. And I don't, my big one is I would like to get the there's the Bountiful Wood. And so there's one of them gives a 70% bonus at max level to
Wow.
wood production. And I'm like, well, that's a little bit further down. So we're not sure. This is tentative. So we don't know whether it will sell well, whether it be well received, how many cards will be burnt for Cinder. But I believe, reading between the lines, the whole point of this is we do have a backlog of Chaos Legion cards. It's been a drag on the ecosystem for a couple of years now. They're currently sitting at like 25 cents each. And while that's there, with DEC almost can't get back to peg, because there's always the potential if you want to get DEC, instead of having to buy it off the market, you can always just go and drop 25 cents on a pack, open it, burn the cards, and you're probably going to get more than that worth of DEC. So while that's there and we haven't churned through that, it's very, very difficult to get DEC back to peg. So I really like the direction that the game is going, because what we're doing is we're saying, hey, you don't have to burn those cards for deck. You could also burn them for Cinder, and that will help you generate cards that will work on land and make land better. And that was the whole idea. The whole idea has always been we're going to use older cards to stake them to land, to give them value. Turning them into Cinder is effectively doing that, but tidying everything up and then just putting it into one card, one really solidly well-powered card. Say, well, I don't have to deal with this. I get thousands of packs, and I've got thousands of loose BCX or CC of cards. I can just, I don't have to combine them and get them and then allocate that. I can just go click, burn for Cinder. Okay, now I've got a whole ton of Cinder. Craft these other cards, and then I can really add value to my land plots with these land specific cards. And when I harvest, there's not just a chance I'll find another rare totem fragment. Great, throw it on the pile, right? Because that's all well and good. But I personally, for being a fairly big player, I think I had like 500 rare totems. So getting a totem fragment now, oh great, an eighth of another rare totem. It's not interesting to me. I barely even look at that side of the screen when I harvest. But if we're talking about labor's luck, and there's a chance that I'm going to pull a black foil arcane land card, right? There's that hole. Is there, right? There's that chance for that massive dopamine rush. And so I kind of feel like this is a really good way of doing it. I'm really happy with the direction that the game's going. So initial land cards by rarity. So we've got prelim card stats. So it's saying estimated max price level at. So we're talking about roughly $200 estimate for common cards. And so we can see here with the ability Bountiful Grain at max level, you're looking at plus 60% of plot PP. Ability Energized means that you don't need a power core on that plot. Rationing means that you need less grain, I believe, to feed the cards on that plot. And ability Dark Discount, I don't remember what that is. Dave did clarify, and I think he might have updated this page to reflect. But yeah, at max level, again, common, epic, rare, legendary, doesn't matter. If you can get your card to max level, it gets labor's luck. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to be hunting for. So if we're talking about common, estimating max level price about 200, rare about 287.50 is the estimate. Bountiful Wood, this is where I'm like, oh, Bountiful Wood plus 70% of plot PP. That would be fantastic. Toil and Kin is interesting. It ties into the newer kin-based setup, where if you have, see, here we go with Elf as an example. If you have another Elf card working that same plot next to this land card, then you'll get the plus 30% plot PP. So that really adds up, right? That starts to really make, especially if you've got those high-end plots that are already producing an absolute ton. of wood or grain and whatever it is. So I'm very much interested in this bountiful wood labour's luck. So I'm thinking rares might be the sweet spot for me, but I still need to do a lot more research to to know. So here we go: bountiful grain, 80%. Toil and Kin, Mundane Beast, 25%. So an epic here is huge. So 345 is the estimate for the price. And again, we'll have to see how it actually turns out for for realsies, but that's huge. Plus 25% plot PP. If you have if you have the land card plus a Mundane Beast, plus you've got the dark discount. I forget what it is, but I think it might be expanded on later. 80% of plot PP for grain in this example. 85% bountiful stone. Yep. So yeah, that's bountiful grain and bountiful stone. That's interesting. Grain and stone are not playable at the same time. Okay, so you would have to. What that means is that this epic card has flexibility. It can go on a grain plot, or it can go on a stone plot as an epic. So you got flexibility there, but it can't do both at once. And again, iron and aura are not playable at the same time. So we got bountiful iron and bountiful aura as an example on this legendary. 100% of plot production, which is huge. That's a doubling. Toil and Kin, another 30% for if you had an undead card on here, and bountiful iron, 100%. So the legendary gives you that double, and again that dark discount, which I have to find out what that is. But 550 is the expected cost of a regular foil legendary max land card. So here we go. Enhanced base power production. So they'll all be here, right? They'll all be regular foils until we start pulling some gold foils, black foils, gold foil arcane, black foil arcane. They've got some really decent multipliers here, right, to really jack up the production power of that plot. But these won't be, they won't be craftable. The only way to get them will be to actually find one on your plot if you've got a Labour's Luck card as part of your lineup, or to buy one from somebody who has found one on there while they're producing. And 90% of the time, whoever finds it, at least to my mind, and if they're anything like me, if you find one of these cards and it's one of these max level ones, it's going to have Labour's Luck and a substantially bigger production power boost. So we're just going to, what I would do is just immediately swap out the card that won it for the black foil or gold foil arcane variant because they're maxed. So, and that's just a free bonus. Hooray! Now I can increase my production power even more, and I could even sell the original one or move it to a different plot. So estimated costs. So this is still preliminary. This is talking about what it's going to cost to actually create these cards. So you can see down here. Can you see my mouse as I'm moving it, Bob?
Yes.
Yep. So you can see the epic and the legendaries take aura. The commons and rares don't, but they do need grain, wood. So 3.45 million wood for a rare max level. And what's that? So yeah, 30k, yeah, 1875 cinder. So max copy cinder, 215,000 cinder. So I really feel like with my wood production, I'm probably going to be looking at rares. I'd like to get maybe 3-4 max rare land cards because I'm happy with the amount of different plots I have. I don't need the flexibility of having either or that comes with the epic and the legendary. And so I know I've got enough cards to burn to get the. Yeah, I really feel like rare is going to be my sweet spot, and because I have so much wood coming in, and that's a lot of that. 3.45 million wood is a lot. I've got a ton of wood coming in, and I'm making about 1 million wood a week. Probably five days to make 1 million wood. So we're talking about that's about to get one max copy just for wood. I'm looking at. My personal supply of it's about 2 weeks worth, maybe even longer.
So you're going to be
16,
slipping down in
days worth.
the table then for the pulls, or you're not going to be chucking pulls anymore.
No, yeah, I won't. I'll definitely pause adding new wood, but I won't pull any out.
Yeah.
So I'll just, because I've still got basically a month. So in that month, I'll
Yeah.
probably have enough to. I'll do a harvest maybe before we've. I'll see if I can squeeze it into the show and do a harvest. But I think it's been 6 days already, so I've got a decent head start. So if I can say pull together enough to get a couple of rares. By the time it actually drops and goes live, then I should be able to use my allocation to get them. A couple of max rares, and yeah, we'll see where we go with bountiful. Still need to work out how do I make sure they're bountiful wood instead of bountiful iron or grain. Although I think that's, yeah, I don't know, lots more detail to go into, and this is why I'm saying. Here we go. Total resources potentially burned. So this is the costs, and this is if we're saying the potential to burn. We've got 142.5 million cinder total. So, and how many DEC value of the resources burned. So we're looking at a substantial amount of. This is if those copies get produced. We're looking at a substantial amount, 2 billion grain, 540 million wood, so 500 million wood. A lot of stuff burnt to turn into these cards, assuming that this is well received and people engage with it and want to do it. I know I do. And so a lot of cinder, right? So basically 30 plus million cinder for each different rarity, 142 million cinder all up, which is a massive amount of cards that are older cards that are just going to get burnt, right? They're not something that people play with. Maybe they stacked. There's a lot of people who've stacked 100 copies of the same card just in case it's ever valuable, and they're just going to look at this and go, you know what, you're all cinder. You're all cinder. I assume Peak Monsters will offer the opportunity to select these, filter them out, and then just burn them in bulk for cinder. And so what we're looking at here is a massive culling of a lot of older cards. And so the ones that are around, the ones that survive this cull, are going to be far more rare than what they were. And I think we're going to lose a lot of this plentiful mindset that says, I can just pick up. I just need to. The problem with the declining price of everything over time is that people just say, well, I want to buy this card, but I'm just going to wait until the price drops a bit because the price has dropped on this card slowly over the last 6 months. So it's probably going to keep dropping, right? And so there's this mentality and that becomes the sentiment. But now we're looking at this, it's like, well, hang on. This one on the market might not get burnt for cinder, but there's a whole lot of others. There's a whole lot of liquidity there that's just going to go away. These cards that were just sitting in the background, they might not get listed, they might just get burnt, but either way, they're not available in circulation. And it wouldn't take much for somebody to arrive and say, I want to play wild and I want to grab this card and this card and this card at max. Then they buy up what's there on the market, and there's no more depth, there's no more, right? Because so many of them have been burnt for cinder. So I could see this really putting a tightener on the supply of older cards and leading to an increase in the price across the board, and that's fantastic because it also vindicates people's decision to have bought those cards. Right? It's like, oh, I'm glad I bought them when I did because the price is going up. So I can see this being a real reversal of sentiment for the game, and I like it because I don't have to turn 10,000 cards. Cryptomancer was talking on Discord earlier about how he had to manually place 300 of the same card onto different plots. It's just death by click. And then he had to go back 3 days later and say, okay, we've cleared all these. Now we need to go through and select them all as, it can be very, very laborious. But this is about saying, okay, you've got your plots, you've got everything set up. All of these cards that you've been putting off, like I know I've been, since I retired from Wild, I've been putting off, how am I going to know which card to put on which plot and which, and this in many ways simplifies it, because if I've got a whole lot of wood, but a whole lot of the cards that I've stacked over the years get a penalty on wood plots, well, they're an easy decision, right? Time to go. I'm going to turn you into cinder, turn that into a card that really gives me benefits for wood plots, and now I'm getting 2 million wood a week instead of 1 million. Which, if I can do all that and get a few bonuses and a couple of, maybe end up with 3 or 4 of those rare max level cards, I'm getting a chance of, a decent chance comparatively of pulling one of these extra cool cards as well as the production bonus of the card itself and the whole plot's getting the extra production bonus of 60, 70, 80% increased wood production, that to me is fantastic. That's when I can really start throwing wood into the pool, and maybe I can hit 10%. I don't know, maybe by, I wouldn't say the end of the year, but February, March. I don't know. I'd love to be 10% of the wood supply. That's my short-term goal now.
Yeah.
So we just had a quick break. I did some reading, and duck discount is a reduction in how much DEC you need to have staked against that plot. So if you're looking at a 99% duck discount, that means you only need to stake 500 DEC if all of those cards are max level. Instead of the 50,000 DEC, it's only 500 DEC. So it's a big discount.
Huge reduction.
It is huge, yeah. So especially in plots where you do have max cards, plots where you have less developed cards. If you have, say, if you got a gold foil alpha, but it's a legendary, but it's only at level 2. Well, that you wouldn't get quite as much a discount on that because it's not obviously at max level. So, but that's the dark discount, and then the rationing is the grain reduction that you need to actually feed your workers, which again can be a big sink. So, yeah, looking at it, I think I'm going to go for 2, maybe even 3. See if I can get 3 max rare cards, because that's the sweet spot there. If I can throw them onto my wood production. And then I might also, that'll be in region 37, and in region 36, I'd like to get 1 or 2 common maxed. I really prefer to go max because I want that labor's luck, right? So every time I harvest, I want there to be a chance that I'm going to see a shimmering black card pop up, because that's where it really gets fun and interesting. And that you know, looking at the chart there on that Medium post, which I shared in our Discord chat there, Bob, if you can share that at the Medium post. That all the details there, by all means go through, read up on it. Lots of clarification in there on the specifics. But I just had a quick look, and if we come and have a look at my grain over here, so I'm at 5.5%. But what's really interesting here is 1,035. Now this was like 950, 960, I think, my total size of my contribution in the wood pool. So we've had a substantial jump in the last day or two in response to this news. And I believe, I'm not sure how to track this, but I believe there's been a lot of trading going on. So I had a look, my fees earned today is only sitting at 2 cents, but that is because it resets at midnight UTC.
Yeah.
And that was only like an hour and a half ago at the time of recording. So I'll probably check maybe 10 a.m. tomorrow at my time, which is just before midnight UTC, and see what kind of fees I've earned off the resource trading that's going on as a result of this announcement. Because I know there are people buying untamed cards, untamed packs have moved on tribal decks. I don't think there's been a lot of movement on Chaos Legion packs, but there are definitely a lot of people seeing this news and then repositioning themselves slightly and making changes. And obviously some of the bigger whales make some minor changes, and that can have a big effect on the market. So yeah, this is the first time I've seen my contribution in the wood DEC pool over $1,000 worth. And like I say, I did nothing for that. That was just the increase in the value in the amount that people value wood and possibly DEC. I'm not sure. So I do need to do a harvest. I might just do that real quick for those who haven't seen it, and then we can do some battling perhaps. So it's still early days. There'll be 6 days ago. There's still quite a ways to go before the land cards actually roll out. We just harvest all. So this is 6 days. I'm at 87%, I think. I think it said. This is region 36. Region 36, I've got everything coming in, but I'm not really specializing in anything. It's just, so there's the aura. So when I've got Lady Luck card somewhere, I'll be looking here when I do harvest to see if there's also a congratulations, you also got a gold foil land card or a black foil land card. But that would require having one of those Lady Luck cards. So yeah, 36, so down. So where am I at here? Region 37. So you can see heaps of wood here. So 88%, so almost 90%. And if we look at the total, I'm just over 1 million wood. So if I'm just simply claiming my wood and not selling it, and I've got a heap of cards that I just stopped renting because it was just I couldn't be bothered. I've got a ton of cards on my alt account, and I think I'm just going to go through there. And the ones I'm not really attached to, I'm just going to end up burning for Cinder. So this is I think, going to be a big shake-up in the world of Splinterlands. And there's going to be a lot of people readjusting things. And I think we're going to see a massive decrease in the card supply as people go crazy for Cinder, because some of these bonuses, and like I said, that dark discount, you get a 99% dark discount. Sorry, my example before, it was 90% dark discount. Now it's 5,000 DEC, not 50,000 DEC. 99% dark discount, which I saw on some of those cards, then you're looking at only 500 DEC. So that's huge, and that basically means you can bring in a whole other plot without staking any more. DEC, or you can pull 50,000 out of that region and go and spend it on stuff. So lots of fun there. Yeah, look at that. Not much going on. Should I go and harvest the castle? Have you seen a castle harvest, Bob?
Yeah.
Have I done that before? I'm not sure.
There's probably people watching who haven't.
Roaring 20s. Just log into the Roaring 20s account, because we have a castle in region 29, and I haven't harvested that for a little while. Let's see what be embarrassing if it's at 100%, won't it? That means I'm naughty guild leader. Here we go. Last harvested 2 weeks ago.
Oh dear.
Tax 200%. No, here we go. Capacity is 80%. It takes a long time for a castle to fill up. It's not the same as. Yeah, my capacity for grain's at 100%, but we got more than enough grain. It only costs 10,000 to do each harvest of a castle. But I will grab this now. It's at 80%. Now that I think about it, and here we go. So this is, for those not familiar, this is the castle in region 29. My 2 castles that I own, 2 castles, Clark, I don't bother with. I don't have anything on them because there's only a few. I don't have regions full of other people throwing cards and DEC at it. They're just barren wastelands, not collecting any tax. But you can see here we got 800,000 grain, 140,000 wood, 9,000 stone, 2,500 iron, and we got some research, some SPS, and 2,500 aura. So that's 80% of a castle harvest as it stands. The tax rate's 19.1. So we got some decent cards, and the Roaring 20s Guild has thrown, I guess, loaned the guild some fairly high level PP cards to get that up to 91. Get that up to the 19%. 20% is the maximum, but it's diminishing returns. You have to throw an absolute ton at it to get that last percent. So we'll do the resource claim, and there's a chance of getting totem fragments here because it's now only keeps and castles that will give you, and we got 1 rare totem fragment. There you go. So that's how it looks to harvest a castle. That will increase over time, and as the other plots in region 20 are brought online by different players, then the tax receipts will increase, and it will mean I'll have to come in here more frequently. So the million resources that the maximum capacity of the castle will fill up faster, and I'll have to come in here more regularly and claim those on behalf of the guild. So I'll have a look at reallocating things and working out what we want to do with that money. So far, I've just been putting resources into the swap pool in the name of the Roaring 20s, into the different swap pools. So did you want to battle then, Bob, or is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
Well, with my travelling around at the moment, I'm a little bit out of the loop with pretty much everything. So I'm not even sure if I've got to check the guild brawls too. I'm not even sure what the status. I didn't put my name down for a fray this time because I didn't know where I'd be or when I would be. So yeah, but after I finish here, so in Guatemala, I am heading home back to Mexico and looking for. I actually lost 10 kilo while I was 1 month in Cusco.
Wow.
That's just everywhere is up, down, step. And my shorts at the moment, I cannot run in my shorts. They will fall down. I've lost that much weight. Yeah. So need to get back to Mexico, have some tacos, have some torta ahogada, to fill my pants back up again.
It's funny that you're saying you're out of the loop, and yet you're right there in the Hive Hub in Guatemala.
Well, I only
And I'm
got here
thinking, oh,
literally yesterday. I just got here
yeah,
yesterday, and the transit, like from Cusco, it was a 4.5 hour flight to Bogota, and then I had 7.5 hours in Bogota airport, and then another 2.5 hours from there to here, and then a 5 hour car drive from the airport to, because we're not the city of Guatemala. It's 5 hours
yeah,
by car from Guatemala City. So I got here at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and yesterday I pushed myself. I really wanted to crash, but if I knew if I crashed, I'd wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, wide awake. So I pushed myself late last night, and then I just crashed for the night. So really, for me, this is day one. Even though I got here yesterday, it's like this is day one here. And
yeah,
tomorrow, got a little bit more exploring to do, and then Thursday, I'm actually gonna start doing some video here, making some
yeah.
video.
Yeah, find the nice spots, and Volcano sounds pretty cool. I got to get over there, man. That sounds cool. Just that gathering together. I've decided I'm going to invite some of the regulars, the guys I've known for a long time in the Adelaide crew, round to my place to watch the Free Chain documentary when that drops on Al Jazeera. I'm not sure how long it'll be, but yeah, Lord Butterfly was discussing that on Twitter the other day, and yeah, really excited for that
Sorry,
to
Matt,
be
don't know
available
anything
to
about it.
watch. So Lord Butterfly made a documentary, interviewed a whole lot of the players, the whole lot of the key players during the Steam to Hive hard fork, all of that debacle, all about Justin Sun, Tron, buying Steemit, weaponizing the Ninja Mine stake, all of that, and the entire thing. So it's a big documentary, professionally
Yep,
made, like quality documentary. Lord Butterfly said that because I've been trying to find ways to watch it for a couple of years now,
yep.
and he said just the other day that he's come to an understanding with Al Jazeera, which is huge, mostly Middle Eastern focused. But for those who don't know, it's a bit like the BBC, but instead of focused on Britain, it's about the Middle East. And so millions and millions of watchers, people who view Al Jazeera. So if he can get that on streaming platforms or whatever, and it gets a whole lot of eyeballs, I think there are people out there who are looking for decentralized options. And when they understand the backstory and they've got a chance to watch that, anybody searching for blockchain on the streaming service, that pops up as a recommendation. Hey, let's watch this doco. And they can actually see the faces and the voices of the people involved. I'm really looking forward to it. And so, yeah, I'm gonna get the projector on. I'm gonna bring out all the spare chairs, put on some snacks, and a whole lot of the people who've been coming to the Adelaide meetups for a long time. I'm going to have them around to my place, and we're going to have a couple of drinks and watch the doco because I'm just really amped to see it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, you asked if I've got anything new. It's like, yeah, no. Sort of right out of it. So yeah, I'm down for some Matley unless there's anything else you want to talk about, or
No, just if anyone's interested in that, just go look up Lord Butterfly on Hive, Peak D, Ecency, whatever. Just type that in, and you'll see all his stuff there. So he's been around forever and does good work. So yeah, just very very enthused about that, and reading up everything I can about these land cards and just trying to maximize my my exposure to any possibilities there. You kind of want to grab it while it's available. So, no, I think we should battle. If you want to send me a challenge,
okay.
let's get the party started.
All right, so let's just show people what we're doing. So tonight we're doing keep your distance. Basically, you just can't use a card that has melee. And sometimes this is like, for example, like the double ones. So in this case, they say, for example, Cora, she has magic and melee. So, boom, no Cora.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to add to this, Matt, for the viewers? Any advice?
No, look, it's interesting.
go-tos?
One thing I tend not to worry about is sneak attacks in keep your distance. So
Yeah,
because there's no melee and most sneaks are melee, I tend to not worry that with the other limitations like rule sets and mana caps and splinters available, there's often not many ways that they might be able to do a ranged sneak, or they might be able to do a magic sneak, but it's very rare that
they might have a Shinlo.
Yeah, well, there you go. A Shinlo and a Goblin Sorcerer. Summoned by Obsidian, you could do something like that. But the odds are you're probably not going to come up against that, right? So, whereas if melee is included, you could be up against a multi-sneak team where they got Katrelba, Sandworm, they got Uraeus, right? And you could be just torn a new ones from the back forward. So that's something I tend to, with Keep Your Distance, I'll tend to put glass cannons up the back far more readily because I'm less worried about an attack from sneak cards. So, but otherwise, no, not a lot of. I don't want to give too many hints away because otherwise you'll start beating me. We can't have that. Yeah.
All right, invite sent. People, so unfortunately, for whatever reason, the second half of the show did not record. As you can see, though, up to the point we were about to start battling, and I've got to be honest, most of the battles that we played weren't really worth watching anyway, i.e. Map 1. And to compound the problem, the brawls had just finished, which took up my battle history, and there was only one battle still available to retrieve from my history, which was the last battle of the show, which is fine because that was the best battle anyway. I won. So I have recorded that. I'm going to chuck that on the end. So my apologies. The second half of the show, the battling did not record. Really don't know why. And joking aside, it had nothing to do with Matt flogging me for the rest of the battles. It just didn't record. But do come back next week, episode 200. It's going to be huge. Yabba P. Matt is going to be on the show. Azicon is going to be on the show. B-Jangles is going to be on the show. There's going to be giveaways. It's going to be huge. It's one you won't want to miss. So once again, so sorry about the technical. Boba Fett. Peace out.